Hi everyone, and thanks for joining us on Beneath the Gavel. I'm Andy Gavrin, Vice President of the Lower Merion Township Board of Commissioners. For the thousands of loyal viewers who are tuning in, you'll know that I often complain about the goons behind the camera, as they're always reining in my creative freedom. Well, today, I get to learn why, as I'm joined by the head goon, Mark Murray, Lower Merion Television's head director and producer. Hey Mark, thanks for joining.
No problem, nice to be here.
So, well, you're always here. You don't have a choice. All kidding aside, though, you're a whiz behind the camera. How does it feel to be on this side?
Odd. I'm not my first time. I host, as you probably know, because you watch the channel.
All the time, of course.
I host the This Month Library Show. I also host the Out and About Recreation Show.
Yep.
So simply because we needed a host, and I did it.
So if anyone else is interested in hosting shows.
Oh, yes, definitely. We are definitely always looking for help, always. Send a resume and yeah.
Great. So I wanted to ask you, because the number one question I get when I'm asked in the street, people always ask me why I haven't earned any national awards for Beside the Gavel. You know, my understanding is the only reason I haven't been nominated for an Emmy or our, I guess, municipal version of it, the Townies, I guess, is because the producers have failed to submit this to the award shows. Is that accurate, or what's happening here?
Well, trust me, we want you out of here. Well, I mean, to succeed, to move on, and we're trying our best. And lots of people are trying to get you, you know. But yet, there's other shows competing also, you know. So it's a tough choice.
Okay, well, when Netflix or Disney Plus comes calling, I'm going to be the next Avenger. So enough about me, though. Let's talk a little bit about you.
All right.
So how did you get here? Tell us a little bit about you. How long have you been in this role?
All right. Born and raised Chester County person. Let's see. Studied television, high school, college. After college, I moved into commercial production in Philadelphia. Then I got a job in LA. I did movies and TV there. I did sound for them. The writer's strike happened, so I moved back east. And worked in corporate television, designing TV studios, doing training videos and stuff like that. Then the economy tanked and they closed all the studios, so I became an independent producer doing medical films throughout the nation. And I got tired of all that traveling, and I thought I need something a little more stable that isn't 24 hours a day almost, and with benefits. And this job opened up, and I said, oh, I'll give it a shot. You know, it was a tiny little office about the size of a desk. We had a bulletin board that ran during the day and a meeting on Wednesday nights. We played back on VHS.
I thought you were going to say you played blackjack during the meeting.
It helps the time pad. Yeah. And then I decided, let's make it more. Let's make it something more interesting. And I thought, but if I'm here too long, so I told everybody, if I'm here more than 3 years, you can come shoot me.
How's that working out for you?
I'm in my 27th year. So here we are, but we've expanded. Lots of TV shows, the meetings are better. We have a nice set, a nice studio. We didn't have that initially.
Yeah. So can I don't know if I can give away a secret. Like, obviously, we're in the boardroom right now, right?
Yes.
So other than right now, when we're in the boardroom right now, the studio's down in the basement of the Township building.
That's
so
correct.
You're pretty much down there most of the day.
Yes.
What's that like? What's it like in the studio for those who don't know?
Well, if we're not shooting outside, the pandemic made us more go inside to do stuff. So our day down in the studio is we're designing sets for different shows, so everything has a different look. We also do all the graphics for all the shows. We have to write the shows. We have to produce the shows, edit the shows, and we do 10 shows a month.
Okay.
There are 20 business days in a month.
Yep.
So it gives us roughly 2 days to do a show. And plus we also do the live meetings that take place on Wednesdays, and all the PSAs that are local, we do that. And anything else that walks through our door. If people need graphics done for posters or business cards or what have you, we do it.
Yeah. So what do you love about the job, and what parts would you improve on? Because you've only had 27 years to improve upon them so far. So
enlightenment doesn't hit until 30. Actually, I like all parts of the job. We're a non-union shop, so I get to do everything. If it was a union shop, a cameraman can only be a cameraman, an editor can only be an editor. LMTV doesn't work that way, so I get to be a writer, a producer, a director, a graphic artist, an editor, a sound guy. I build sets. So I really enjoy all of it. The part not so much, no offense, the long meetings.
No, because those are my favorite parts.
I
So
assume
I'm shocked that you don't enjoy that. Yeah.
But yeah, if you could shorten them a little bit, that would be nicer.
Well, we actually have, right? When I first came on this board 5-6 years ago, routinely meetings went past midnight.
Oh, yeah.
So I know, we're typically out of there by 11, 10:30. I mean, you have some that we have, and it's important.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting because we've talked about, like, can we start meetings earlier? How do we do it? Commissioner's not a full-time job,
Right.
so a lot of the commissioners are working, and so can't get over here until starting meetings at 6 o'clock. And there just happens to be a lot of business. I think our presidents over the last few years, whether it was Dan Bernheim or now Todd Sinai, have done a really nice job of kind of culling down the agenda to what we need to do. And it's always interesting for me, not coming from a government background. There's so many things that we just need to approve. They're not controversial. They're not in it. It's 11-0 vote or 14-0 vote, depending on how many people show up for a night. But they're not controversial, but we need to go through them. And they might only take 5-10 minutes, to go through them. But you have a bunch of those on a meeting, and right there you have an hour of administrative work. No one loves it. You guys have to sit around and wait for us to get through this. We have to sit there and kind of just go through the motions to do it, but it needs to get done.
Right. And to that
yeah.
point, I mean, 14 commissioners, and each wants to say something about a particular topic. So if they only speak for 3 minutes, well, that's 3 times 14 on a single topic.
Yeah, that's like 28 minutes or so.
Yeah, so and if you have a long agenda, that's a lot to do.
Yeah, and we had, we just, as we passed the new zoning code recently, and what happened because of that, a lot of developers, if you get your application in before the code comes online, you're under the old zoning code, and the new code was more restrictive. So we had a flurry of applications coming in, and so all of a sudden our workload just, ramped up. And so, and those are controversial, right? Those aren't the easy administrative things. Those are, we want to add 500 new apartments, and we want to do this, and we want to do that. And yeah, you have 14 commissioners, and we have a director of building and planning who is wonderful and also loves to talk a lot. And so Chris will be up there telling the story. The applicant will get up there. You have people from the community, and all of a sudden, it's 2 hours on one application. It definitely makes it challenging.
Well, and it looks like you guys are paying attention.
Yeah, we usually are. No, it's hard.
I bet.
In all honesty, to sit there for 5 hours sometimes and pay attention constantly, especially as it gets later and later in the night, is difficult. But I think everyone there takes this job very seriously.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think anyone's here for the wrong reasons. You see nationally in politics, people are in it for power, for prestige. There's no power or prestige that comes with this role, believe me. But people are here because we want to do what's right for our constituents. And so, when there are things that are controversial and that we need to know, everyone buckles down and does their work. And it's really nice to see. And it's nice to be on a board where there is a diversity of opinions.
Right. Very respectful too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And you do that, right. It just like any other work environment, right? You're not going to agree with everybody, or like my home with my kids, I'm not going to agree with them, but they're sometimes respectful to me, right, girls? But no, I mean, you have to be, right? Because you're not going to, if you're not respectful to each other, it's not going to work, and it's going to be a disaster.
The home's a dictatorship.
Yes, it is.
I tell my kids the same thing.
Except they think they're the dictators. Okay. That's the problem. No, I mean, it really is great working with the rest of the commissioners, because we have a very respectful relationship, but we disagree, and to me, that's more fun. If we just all said, hey, this is the path we go down, I don't think it would be good government. I don't think we'd make good decisions. You need that diversity.
To reverse our roles here a bit.
Yeah.
Do you think being on television helps the board?
That's a good question. I don't know if anyone really changes their behavior. I think the way we are during the meetings is how we would be regardless. I don't think people are putting on a false front for the most part. You know, every once in a while, people, you know, some commissioners feel like I need to get my, you know, my talking points in there.
How about your constituents? Do they enjoy it, or?
Yeah, I think it's really good having it there. I think for the most part, a lot of my constituents, in all honesty, aren't sitting there watching it every week. I know. But when there are things that are relevant to them, they come out and they're watching. And I think for a lot of people, they have young kids, it's hard for them to get down here. To be able to watch it on TV or streaming really makes it easier and accessible to them. So thank you to you. I don't know if you asked that question so that you could pat yourself on the back, but I'm going to pat you on the back.
Well, it's budget season. You know.
Yeah. Well, I'll talk to the commissioners about that. But no, I think it's great to have.
Cool.
So obviously everyone watching this knows how to watch LMTV, but there are different avenues to watch it.
Right.
So how?
If you have cable TV in Lower Merion Township, Comcast, we're on channel 7, Verizon, we're on channel 37. We're on Facebook. We are on YouTube. We have our own site, lmtv.vibit.com, and we post on social media all the time.
Yeah. So there's all kinds of options out there. Yep. Does it matter how people watch it? Is one 10 seconds before the other so they can bet on what one of the commissioners will say?
They're all the same.
They all come, okay, all right, you never know.
Good idea.
Yeah, it's not a bad. I'm going to start watching football games that way. See if I can do that. Well, as you know from being on this, we split into 2 segments. Right. So we're getting to the end of segment number 1, and it's been great so far getting to talk with you on camera. Looking forward to the second half of the show. We'll learn a little bit more about LMTV and get a sneak peek, hopefully, of some of the things we've got planned for 2023. So stay tuned. Make sure to visit our sponsors, as your support helps them pay for the $0 that I get for doing this show. We're back with LMTV's wonderful director, producer, jack of all trades, Mark Murray. Thanks for sticking with us, Mark, and not pulling the plug on this episode.
I thought about it.
I know you did. And I wouldn't blame you for 1 second. I do have one question, though, before we get back into it. You're here. How are we filming this?
Magic of television.
You're not alone in the studio.
No. I have help. Josh Mackley has been my right hand for many years, and he makes magic happen.
Yeah. Hi, Josh, wherever you are. Thank you for doing this. So Mark, there's a lot of shows. You alluded to it before on LMTV. Mm-hmm. You range from the wonderful shows that you host to all the way down to like Public Works Pipeline, bottom of the barrel, bottom of the trash can. See? Tell us about some of the shows on LMTV. How they're different. What are some of the things that people can expect to see?
All right. Well, we have this show besides Gavel,
obviously,
#1 rated program.
Clearly,
of course. It's hard to fit the other shows in or even come close. But our library produces a lot of stuff for us. We have a show called The Library Show, inventive name. And that host, Lenore Forstead, interviews about the administrative aspect and some of the programs that go on. Then we have a show that I host called This Month at the Libraries, where I review everything that goes on that month at each library to help encourage participation. And then a lot of library content is online, and so we have a show called LMLS Online, which reviews all the shows they have online. The police do a show. The fire department was doing a show. I'm trying to think. Go ahead.
When the fire department's doing a show, are they like putting out fires? Like, do you go on site for their training and stuff?
No. Well, we used to initially. The show has had 2 lives. The most recent one is more tips of how to do things, some of the benefits and programs they offer to the citizens and within themselves, like the knockbox system, the keys that are stored on location. So they do stuff like that. And police in a similar vein. Scott Zelloff with the superintendent talk about the programs and services they offer. All the shows. And then we have a show called Eye on Lower Merion, which basically goes over basically what Lower Merion is and all the cool things.
Okay.
We have a history show. Ted Goseborough goes through the history of Lower Merion Township. We have a health show that talks about the township used to have its own health department, and now we partner with the county and all the stuff they have to offer. So we cover pandemic information, ticks, flus, things like that, and it just keeps going.
Yeah, I mean, can't get more fun than ticks and flu.
That's right.
So a lot of the shows are informational, right?
Right.
They're about things in the township, tips for residents. Is there any just fun content out there, or is that's not the charge of Lower Merion TV?
Fun content. I'm not
I mean,
sure.
obviously it's all fun.
Oh yeah,
right?
yes, yeah,
Clearly,
yeah. I mean,
but
I know the ratings tonight. Going
Yep.
up. I don't know. Well, we have a show about the Harrington House that's more of a documentary, but it's a very fun, if you like history type of stuff. And I guess most of our history programs go that way. But no, I wouldn't. We used to do a show called The Arts in Lower Merion, where we would record the musical presentations at the Ballacamon Library. But that fell aside, especially during the pandemic. But yeah, no, not really. Everything else is just informative.
okay, have you been pitched any crazy ideas for shows? Like,
Yeah.
what are some of the craziest things you've been pitched?
We had one that they wanted to use a sock puppet as the host, and they would be talking about serious topics. And no, that wasn't going to work. No, it would definitely get people to watch, but no.
Huh. All right. So what do you? Okay, I don't even know where to go with that. What are like you've been down here, not only your shows but watching other people host shows. Like, what are some of the things that you've seen? Like, oh, we should do more of that. Like, I know Mike McKeon on the terrible Public Works pipeline, but he's got like a bag of questions that come in. What are some of the things through the years that you've seen that it's like, oh, that's really good. We should do more of
Well,
that.
it seems having more guests on, more engaging, more of a point counterpoint type of show. That
Yep.
seems to be more engaging. People like graphics, so a lot of times people bring up their own charts and stuff like that. Sometimes we can put a screen right here behind the two people, and you can watch whatever it is they're talking about and show little videos. You name it, we can probably do it.
As you were talking about technology, well, I don't know if charts are technology, but one thing we just did was in the boardroom, we just had some enhancements, right? Because I know, I'll let you talk about it because you know a little better than I do. But, we had an issue with people not being able to hear with Zoom, zooming in. Can you tell us a little bit of some of the problems we've had and what we've done to fix that?
Well, the boardroom was initially set up to be for television only, really. I mean, obviously for a conference for people there live.
Sure.
But when the pandemic hit, we had to figure out a way, how can we get our TV equipment to work on Zoom? So that took a lot of meandering and working on, and we still come across bugs. And people were having trouble seeing and hearing properly for lots of technical reasons. So what we've done now is we've added 2 more cameras, and we'll soon be adding 2 more, that are solely for Zoom. So anyone in that room doesn't need a TV crew to make it happen. They can activate the room, and they can have 4 cameras that will go to whoever's speaking on Zoom, and you should be able to hear and see them well.
So they have to like take a joystick and aim it? Or
No, it's all, it hears your voice, and it finds you and zooms in on you.
So for those people who are watching the board meetings is it if you're watching it on Zoom, or is it if you're participating in the meeting on Zoom? Like, who is that for?
It's for all right, if you are sitting at the dais in the room, and the room is being on Zoom.
Broadcast on
Yeah,
Zoom,
broadcast
okay.
on Zoom, then those cameras are for that.
Gotcha. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So those who've had experiences at home saying, oh, this is really difficult on Zoom, this should improve it dramatically.
That's what we're hoping for.
That's great. And I would be remiss to not thank you and mention what a great job you've done trying to keep up with that, right? The pandemic hit. None of us had any idea what to do, how to do this. It has dramatically changed how people watch the meetings, how people participate. And you guys have done an amazing job. It has not been easy. I know you've worked very hard over the past couple of years to do that. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for doing that. So speaking of that, obviously it takes people to do that. I've seen billboards. I've seen, all over Pennsylvania, frankly, these billboards saying LMTV is looking for help.
Yes.
So what are you looking for? How do you get involved?
We'll take anybody, almost.
Okay. Obviously.
But we start with an internship program to most of the colleges and schools around us. We're looking for anyone in all the art areas, writers, directors, producers, graphic artists, editors, actors, because we need everyone to make all this happen. Television is a big mix of all those theatrical elements put together. So someone has to build the set, someone has to do the physical set, someone has to do a virtual set, someone has to do the stuff that appears below us. Someone has to write this all out, someone has to plan it all out, find the guests, and then if we go on location, we have to go scout a location, essentially take the whole studio with us when we go on location somewhere, and that takes a lot of people.
Yeah. So you've worked, you told us before, you've worked all over the industry, right? And so if you work here, how can you take that experience? How will that help you as you are a budding Spielberg, thank you, thank you.
Well, as I said, we're a non-union shop, so you get to try your hand in everything. You get to try what it's like to write a 30-second commercial and make it work, or how to do graphics, or learn the importance of what type of microphone you use, or what type of lighting you use. And as you move from project to project, if you have that skill, they move you up to the next project. You'll say, oh wow, he already knows how to do this. I'm going to pick him over the guy who doesn't know how to do this. So yeah. But if anyone's interested, you email us at lmtv@lowermerion.org, or visit our social sites and take it from there.
Nice. Is it true that Kevin Feige, is that his name? The Marvel guru, Disney and Marvel?
Oh, okay.
Kevin, I think it's Feige. He started here, didn't he?
Oh gosh, yes, yeah.
So.
George Lucas,
right.
Steven,
So
Steve,
yeah.
Well, yeah.
He doesn't let you call him Steve?
No, not yet.
All right. So we're coming towards the end of the year. We obviously have a lot going on from the commissioner side. We have our budget to, that we have to get through by the end of the year. We'll get there, and it won't go till 2 in the morning, hopefully.
Yep.
We've done a lot of work, from workshops, and so hopefully we'll get there, and it'll be a relatively smooth process. But you also have a lot going on. I know there's always innovation going on here. What can you tell us? I mean, I don't want you to give away things, but our audience is a very, very special audience.
Right.
The hundreds, thousands of people who watch this show.
Right.
So what sneak peek can you give them about innovation that's coming up?
Okay. Well, we're always looking for new ways to educate the public about the programs and services the township offers. And talk shows work okay, but we want something a little different. So we're thinking of next year doing game shows. Something along the line of like Hollywood Squares or a Jeopardy or To Tell the Truth, and that way you can still quiz people about the township, educate them, but in a fun way.
Could we do the newly commish game?
The
Get to know, see how well we know the new commissioners.
That's an interesting one, maybe. Yeah.
So add that to the sock puppet of really terrible ideas.
Right.
All right, I see. I could see the look on your face. Oh no, Andy, that's a great idea. We love that. We'll
get right on it.
Yeah, sure. Now I gotta stop. Well, and I am gonna stop because thank you for being such a great guest. We are out of time, and you usually tell me that we're out of time, but now I let you know. So thanks for joining us on Beside the Gavel, and we'll see you next month.